I want to finish the show with something that was said by one Steve Sarkisian when he was asked about the matchup this weekend, in particular with the quarterbacks, with Arch Manning and DJ Lagway. The question was essentially, hey, you got two quarterbacks here that are talented in Lagway and Manning, but both a little bit inexperienced. Kind of a nice way to ask, like, hey, neither guy's played great so far. How do you help them? And the question was, like, how do you help them when it comes to the mental side of this game? And how do you help them gain some confidence? Essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, is what was posed to them. So I thought Sark's answer was really insightful and was a pretty good pulse as to where we are right now in college football. So go ahead and take a listen to this. I thought it was insightful.
I think one thing that came out of this weekend as well, and I'm looking around the country at the high-profile players, I don't know if any of them are living up to what everybody said they were supposed to be. But we're in this era right now of everybody's got a phone, so everybody's got Twitter. There's 9,000 podcasts going on. The coverage over college football is more and more intense than it's ever been. And so players are getting put up on these pedestals really quickly in their careers. And I felt like this weekend I could feel some guys pressing, not so different maybe than Arch was pressing early on, to where they feel like they have to live up to, whether it's whatever they're allegedly making through NIL or because this is what the media is saying I'm supposed to be or I'm not being. College football players are getting critiqued and criticized more now than they ever have in the past too. And so this is a different era that we're in. And I think that we've got to do a great job as coaches of, I don't want to say shelter, but we got to protect our guys, and because they're not pros yet. All right, and the majority of them probably will be, of the guys that I'm talking about. But we've got to do a really good job of putting them in the right mental space to where they're still enjoying playing the game of football with their college football teammates. And so, to me, that's the point to these guys, And I think that they got to play for the love of the game, because they do love the game. They need to play football and not work football. And I think that that's something we've been working on with Arch, and I'm sure there's a lot of other coaches around the country that are going through similar things in that realm.
I think Sark's on the money there. Think about it too. How many guys we talked about in the preseason? Drew Aller is going to be the man at Penn State. Still might be. Cade Klubnik going to take Clemson back to the top of college football. Not the case. DJ Lagway, we crowned him like the day after they beat LSU. Arch Manning, the last name, the pedigree, all that. There was so much hype around all these guys, and all those guys I just mentioned, to me at least, look like they're playing just a touch tight. As Steve Sarkisian says, pressing, Arch Manning pressing. We'll talk about this right now. Before we do that, though, make sure you're subscribed. Nothing but college football year-round on this platform, the On Three YouTube channel, on this show, The Hard Count. You're a college football sicko. We love you for it, dude. We're sickos, too. So thank you for that. 2, want to be a good-looking sicko, Roback, bringing you the hard count. Okay, some of the best just active wear, comfortable, good-looking, good-fitting in the entire industry. They're changing the industry, all right? Also, little game day collection from the folks at Roback. So if you're a Texas fan watching this, I got some nice Longhorn apparel for you with the beautiful burnt orange. I'm telling you, man, Roback, they're taking care of you. They're also leading the charge on the NIL front, having signed multiple college stars in the past and also the present. So if you hear nothing else and you want to look good and be comfortable now for crispy season, what I got on right now, some Roback, okay, get dialed in. Go ahead, go to roback.com, use code JD, and save yourself 20% off if you're a new customer. So 20% off all new customers with code JD at roback.com, RHOBACK.com. The tees, the quarter zips, the hoodies like this one. Again, I wear this like legitimately every day, if not every day and night. I'm at home doing work, rocking this, watching a show, rocking this. Roback, bringing y'all the hard count, saving y'all some money, making you look good during college football season, and most importantly, in addition to looking good, keeping you comfortable during college football season and saving you some money with code JD. No periods, just code JD at roback.com. So we appreciate them. They've been partners with us, too, for a long time. Like, been with this show since we did it out of a makeshift lobby in Waco, Texas. I digress. It has never been harder, going back to the point here that Steve Sarkisian's making, it has never been harder to be a college football player relative to the other stuff you have to manage. He said it. He's like, everyone's got social media now. What he's saying there is everyone has access to you. Everyone has a take. You have a bad game? Guess what? I jump in your DMs. I'm Longhorn Fan 32, and I can say whatever I want to you behind a keyboard. And guess what? It doesn't matter if it's behind a keyboard or if it has a logo as your profile picture or a real person. Like, it can still mess with the person's head, dude. Like, words can still get you all out of whack no matter what kind of perception you want to put out there for the public, whatever kind of persona you want to put out there for the public. Like, that's hard. That's real deal hard. Even if you're just a college kid, it's difficult, man. So the outside noise of it is difficult, plus the fact that you're being paid like a professional. Like, you don't think there's a little bit extra pressure when you see that check clear if you're Arch Manning? I'm making how much? To do what? To play a sport? Hey, I better deliver. Because I want to make them right as much as I want to make myself right. I'm being paid this much money. Of course I want to go perform. That's the internal part of this, outside of whatever the pressure is from the person that's actually paying you. That's huge. The thing with college football that is always tricky to navigate if you're a player, that's only being amplified right now with the coverage of it, you have the most passionate individuals in the world watching their team, watching our teams play. And I love that. That's what makes college football unique. That's what makes it special, is the passion, the energy, all those things that us as fans bring to the table. It's why it's unique. But you pair that with the fact that you have such a limited sample size every single year to define your team. You get 12 Saturdays guaranteed, 12. 14 weeks, 12 games, 2 buys. And so every single week, that narrative changes so quickly. Like Arch right now, the narrative is, he sucks. Not good. Thought he was going to be good because of the last name. He's not good. That's the lazy narrative you're hearing right now. And in some way, you're like, yeah, I mean, based on what he did against Ohio State, what he did against UTEP, like, that narrative has got some legs to it if you want to go to war and support that narrative. But if Arch goes out there and lights it up against Florida, goes for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns, narrative flips real quickly. Arch is back. This is the Arch we signed up for. This is the Arch we always knew was there. Hey, Arch, he's a Heisman Trophy front runner, all those things. The narrative changes so quickly. Same thing for DJ Lagway. If he goes out there and balls out, hey, we saw him do it before. We needed to see it again, though. That's all. The narrative can change at a breakneck pace in the world of college football, dude, because of limited sample size and high emotional input. And I love the high emotional input, and I love limited sample size. But I'm just telling you now, we got to be leery of that, pairing it with what Steve Sarkisian said, the podcast world, digital media, all those things. We're happy to be a part of the podcast world, but there's a certain responsibility we all have to retain here, which I want to make sure we say this. We always thought Arch was going to be good. Always. So what Arch has done to this point has been well below my expectations. But who's actually wrong here? Am I wrong for thinking Arch Manning was going to be something, or is Arch Manning wrong for not living up to my expectations? Like, is the guy wrong for saying Arch Manning was going to dominate college football, or is Arch Manning wrong for not dominating college football? Arch was never a different person because of the take we had on him. Arch was always Arch. Same thing for DJ Lagway. And so for us to just absolutely get after Arch Manning for not living up to our own projection of what he was going to be, why did we think Arch Manning was going to dominate college football? For those of us that thought that. Hand up. We did not think he'd dominate. Thought he'd be good, not dominate. But you thought he was going to be a top 5 player in the sport? What were you going off of there? A couple of highlights against Mississippi State? It was impressive, don't get me wrong, but I think that the burden of proof was on you to prove that Arch Manning was going to be a top 5 player in the sport. That was your take. Not anything that led you to believe Arch Manning was going to just be number 1 overall pick the upcoming season. It's not on Arch. It's on the person that had that take. It's on us for thinking Arch was going to be X, Y, and Z. So what I think I take away from what Steve Sarkisian is saying is the values of what used to work in college football still really matter. Like culture, locker room, leadership, poise, composure, all those things. Like whenever NIL became a thing, the take you heard a lot was culture doesn't matter anymore. Even some coaches would say it. Culture doesn't matter anymore. The opposite is true in my opinion. You're throwing millions of dollars at these kids. You're putting extra exposure on this sport when it comes to digital media and the podcast world and all that. You better have a team with their head on straight. You better have some good leaders. You better have a coach that's a good communicator and kind of steady the ship. There better be some good composure, some buy-in internally. Culture, I think, matters even more than it did before. I think poor culture is getting exposed via NIL. Also, too, like we talk about the way you succeed in college football going forward. If you're a player, block out the noise. Be able to be competitively tough. Be mentally tough. If you're a head coach, be able to be a Steve Sarkisian, help Arch get back to what he expects of himself. Like be able to kind of play a little bit of a sports psychology, if you will. So my point in all this is what used to work in college football still works when it comes to culture, composure, competitive toughness, all those things. And I'll be curious now. I can't prove this is a take I have as we part. I'm curious to see if we don't see more athletic departments and more football programs increase their investment in sports psychology. I think it's very much so a thing that is going to be strained more and more as we move further and further into the direction we are in college football. And I love the passion. I love that we get to have a job talking about the sport. But what Steve Sarkisian is saying here is on the money. We're seeing guys press, play tight, all those things, Arch Manning being one of them. And a lot of it is due to the external these guys now have to manage. So can Arch get back on the right side of things? Can DJ Lowry get back on the right side of things? I hope so. I absolutely hope so.